Hi, everyone. I'm Steve Adubato. We are honored to once again be joined. It's been too long. Camelia Valdes is the prosecutor in Passaic County. Good to see you,
Good
prosecutor.
to be seen, Steve. Good to be seen. Thank you for having me.
And let's officially let everyone know, born and raised where?
I was born in the Bronx, but raised in Newark.
Just trying to clarify that.
Always.
Yeah, let's talk. As we actually do this program, Prosecutor Valdes, President Biden is launching an initiative, a crime initiative. You've read about it. It's actually, as we're speaking, I believe he's going to be speaking in Pennsylvania, adding more police, talking about more accountability. I'm not sure what that means in terms of the way police handle themselves and in light of the George Floyd murder on camera, if you will, trying to find the balance between more police, but also better police who are more accountable. How much sense does that make? A, and B, how hard is it to execute that?
It makes all the sense in the world. I have the privilege of working with police officers who are doing their level best to secure communities, to make sure that we're keeping safe. But unfortunately, as you know, have had to come across police officers that needed to be held accountable. And so as prosecutors, we have a unique responsibility of standing in the gap between the community and the police. And the more police and the more police interaction with the public, the better it is for all of us. And not an easy task. People don't like change. People clamor for change, but they don't want to be changed themselves. But it's a conversation and a work that we have to do every single day.
Prosecutor, let me ask you this. Police morale, okay? Yes, there have been horrific incidents, well publicized as they should be. Police need to be scrutinized. These incidents need to be prosecuted, and too many, disproportionate number of Black and brown people, disproportionately men, have been on the wrong end of that kind of police brutality and violence. However, at the same time, police morale at an all-time low. How big a problem is that? Because you want to talk about hiring more police. Who really wants to be a cop these days?
Sure. We just did a law enforcement career fair at Montclair State. Thank you to Montclair State for hosting us. And police morale is at an all-time low because we don't hear about good police. We are focused, as we should be, on police that have gone rogue, that have lost a sense of their oath. But there are plenty of police officers that are doing their level best to keep us safe, that are putting their lives on the line, that come to work just for the reward of service, public service. We don't emphasize or focus enough on them because we're focused on those that have decided that the laws don't apply to them, or that somehow they are above the law. So police morale is something that we have to be very conscious of. We have to make sure that we are highlighting the good work that they do and making sure that the public understands that overwhelmingly police are trying to do the right thing in very dangerous circumstances. And so we hear about police, bad police, but there are more good police than there are bad police. And our job is to make sure that they feel appreciated, that they feel seen, and that they feel validated because they're trying to go home to their families just like all the rest of us.
Prosecutor, let me ask you this. A lot of folks talk about the Supreme Court decision on the right to carry a concealed weapon. In your view, what would that mean in New Jersey if more and more people actually, there are estimates that 150, 200,000 more people may be seeking that permit. What would that mean in your view?
In New Jersey, although the Supreme Court struck down the New York provision that had people not having to explain why they needed a gun, in New Jersey, it's not going to change the legal requirements of having to go through the process of applying for a permit, making sure that a background check is done. So it just takes away the need to explain why you need a gun. Any time that there is anything that even can remotely lessen the impact of gun control measures in New Jersey, it's always a scary proposition because we see that the state is besieged with gun violence. So anytime any of those requirements are made easier, certainly that gives us, in law enforcement, certainly as a prosecutor, it gives me concern because there are too many guns in New Jersey, certainly in my county, to begin with. But the practical effects of it in New Jersey, at least, is that those legal requirements are still going to have to be satisfied.
Camilla, let me ask you this. Fentanyl, how big an issue?
It's a very big issue. Heroin and fentanyl is what we see in Patterson, and it is more deadly, and it is spreading. And so we need to be conscious of where that is. And it is a big problem that we have. Certainly we see it in Passaic County, but it's not just in Passaic County. We see it in our major cities.
So I want to follow up on this. People expect government, prosecutor's office, the courts, police to protect us. And more people believe that the court system and the system itself is letting more and more people who have serious mental health issues back out on the street, who are committing, and again, disproportionately in New York, you see it, but that's just the microcosm of urban communities across this country. Do you believe that people with serious mental health issues that are not being taken care of or being helped where they should and how they should, that they are in fact creating even more crime, A, and B, what should we be doing to address it?
So it's a combination of mental health. It's a combination of poverty, trauma. People do what they see. And so if you grew up in an environment where violence begets violence, that's natural to you. That's normal to you. So it's a conversation that we need to have about mental illness, but it goes beyond mental illness. It's poverty, it's trauma, it's lack of resources, it's all the social ills that we've been talking about for years. We need to be able to talk about all those things. Obviously, mental health is something that is extraordinarily important to our work. We need to be conscious of it. And we need to be conscious of the fact that police are being called upon to deal with things like mental health, like issues that are really beyond what their training and expertise is, and that it has to be a multidisciplinary approach where we have those partnerships that extend beyond law enforcement in order to really be able to address the issue.
Got it. I want to ask you about Miranda rights. First of all, explain to everyone, 30 seconds or less, what are our Miranda rights?
So Miranda rights are anytime that anyone is in police custody and they're being interrogated, potentially about something, an offense that they have committed, they have to be issued Miranda warnings. And Miranda warnings, just, as we have come to know from television and otherwise, you have the right to remain silent. Anything that you say may be used against you. So in the recent Supreme Court case, although—
Excuse me, the United States Supreme Court ruled on, so did they say we don't have to, that cops don't have to give the Miranda rights anymore?
No, Miranda rights are still protected under the new Supreme Court case. But what the case does, it creates a situation where if police officers don't issue those warnings, an individual cannot sue the police officer. So it creates an immunity, basically, for if you don't issue those warnings and a person gives a statement, if the person is later tried and they're exonerated, they can't come back and sue the police for not issuing those warnings.
Real quick before I let you go, do you have any concerns about this ruling?
Certainly, it's one of the fundamental things, that protections and civil rights that we have to ensure that people are making statements and their rights are being protected. So if the police don't do that, then you can't sue them. So that is certainly of concern, but we're going to ensure that our police officers, certainly in Passaic County, are making sure that they are abiding by those Miranda warnings and making sure that the public is protected.
You're listening to, and that has been the prosecutor in Passaic County, Camelia Valdes. Prosecutor, thank you so much.
Thank you, Steve.
We'll be right back.
Think Tank with Steve Adubato has been a production of the Caucus Educational Corporation. Funding has been provided by Kane University, the Turrell Fund, supporting Reimagine Childcare, TD Bank, Robert Wood Johnson Foundation, the Healthcare Foundation of New Jersey, Choose New Jersey, MD Advantage Insurance Company, the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey, and by New Jersey Sharing Network. Promotional support provided by AM 970 The Answer, and by NorthJersey.com and Local IQ, part of the USA Today network.
Hi, I'm Dr. Sharif Elnahal. Did you know that there are nearly 4,000 New Jerseyans waiting for a life-saving transplant? And 67% of those people are people of color. Just one organ and tissue donor can save 8 lives and enhance the lives of over 75 people. Let's come together to raise awareness in our diverse communities. Donation needs diversity. You have the power to make a difference. For more information or to become an organ and tissue donor, visit www.njsharingnetwork.org.